Well, we went through obviously all the tracks that had never been used on the proper albums, which have been used as A-sides, B-sides and extras around the place, and really used most of those. The couple that didn't make it because there was one we all hated and there was one that Phil particularly hated, and so decided just not to include them, you know. So all the others are there. And then the rest of the stuff was really just live material, trying to make a decision on and using no live tracks that had ever been used before, and using live tracks from any era, any place. And I was amazed actually when I listened to all the stuff, how many tracks we'd never used actually. We've done a lot of live albums, as many people will tell you, I think. It's supposed to be a well-documented live band. But so you missed out on certain eras, in fact, and some one or two quite good pieces, like Duke's Travels, I think, particularly, which is very strong. We used to try and jam sometimes onto the master reels just to see what we'd get out of it, in case there's anything worth using, and also give you a chance of just going back and looking at it in detail, you know. And obviously in this particular version you've got the verses pretty much how they were, with Phil just sort of singing nonsense. But then the middle, which obviously hadn't evolved at that point, was, you know, you can see sort of forming, a couple of chords are there happening, and you get an idea of what we were aiming for. And the end section I think is quite interesting because it just includes lots of just typical of what we used to do all the time, which was just we might put up a groove, you know, with the drum machine and just play around on top of it. And you know, and it becomes almost a sort of like a little pastoral sequence at the end there almost, which is sort of just typical of just jamming around, and a couple of which actually sound quite nice and might have been usable had we decided to go that direction. It sort of turns the song inside out because it uses the piano riff as the main riff throughout the song, and the guitar riff sort of comes in as the extra, so it's the reverse of what we did on the thing, and I think that works quite well actually. I think we all sort of just carried on regardless really. I don't know how much each of us worried about it. I mean, you sort of thought that it would resolve itself one way or another. You'd find a singer, you might have to, you know, in the end you thought you might have to just plump for a singer and sort of kind of, you know, use his vocal talents rather than anything else about him maybe. I don't know, I think we were enjoying ourselves so much just writing. I remember Trick of the Tail just being a really enjoyable record to do, because The Lamb had been a bit of a struggle, to be honest. I mean, because there'd been time things to sort of keep to, and although some of the stuff came very easily, other bits were a bit more difficult, and there were more arguments in the band, and you know, it wasn't the happiest of times. And so Trick of the Tail was like a breath of fresh air really, and things seemed to come very easily, with lots of ideas around, and we had a great time doing it. I think certainly I did. I was sort of amazed by it at certain times. You know, you go out on stage and all these people, and you think, they all come to see that. Why, you know? But nevertheless enjoyed it really, I suppose. I mean, I love just writing the music, and something very exciting about writing music that you feel is going to get a big audience. You know, there's some sort of there's a thrill in that when you get something that works and you think, that'd be great, that'll work really well. Yeah. Our relationship is based around music. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, that's why we see each other, did see each other, whatever, was because we got on well. You know, what happened when we were in the same room and writing worked really well, I think. It's obviously something to do with egos. It has to be, I think. I know that some groups would, you know, have problems with this, and I think it would be fair to say, for example, if Phil had the sort of success he had later when we were about 22, 23, that the band wouldn't have survived it. You know, I don't think, because the younger can't take it. By the time it happened, we were sort of in our 30s and things, and it was sort of easier to take, and the band was pretty well established by that stage and everything, so you didn't feel totally that you were riding on his sort of in his slipstream, you know. Oh, it's been incredibly satisfying, really. I mean, just writing songs, you know, is something I love doing, really. And being able to do that for such a long time, and obviously getting a reaction to it is fantastic too. That's the thing. You play a song, particularly live on stage, and you get a response, and on a record, and it's a hit or whatever. You know, it's an incredibly. You feel very lucky to have done that, really. I mean, it does give you those incredible highs, but incredible lows, but in the main, the highs make it all worthwhile.